Welcome to Fortune Cookies Tarot. This is Happy Birthday, Immortal. Marilyn Monroe's 99th birthday reading. We're going to be right back. Welcome back, Tarot Maniacs, Tarot Divas. We are jumping right into Diva Week. Happy birthday, Immortal. So we are going to be doing a reading on Marilyn Monroe. Her 99th birthday was on June 1st. I am recording this on June 1st, but I'm launching it on June 2nd. Sorry, wanted to do my Sunday gratitude. You guys get it. But we have a whole week full of amazing Immortal Divas for you. So we're going to have some fun with this. I am going to bring up the cards in just a second, but I want you to hit that like button before I do it. And I also want you to consider getting a reading with me. I am still doing the $99 Memorial Day sale. It's an opportunity for you to get a reading with me at an amazing discount. We can talk about anything you want, plotting and planning out your life. Decision making, anything like that. I would love to see some of you on my schedule. So let's bring up that card view and let me know down below what your favorite Marilyn Monroe moment is. So what we're going to do in this reading, we're not going to try and uncover what happened at the exit. We're not going to try and uncover what happened at that crazy weekend before she passed away with Frank Sinatra out at the lodge. But we're going to try and figure out what her magnetism was and what made her so compelling, both spiritually and energetically. So let's jump right in. I have two decks. I have my Super Golden Tarot. You guys know I use this for Catherine, Princess of Wales, all the time after she wore that amazing gold dress at the James Bond premiere. But I also have the Pulp Tarot, which is really fun and kitschy and sweet. And we are going to use both of these. I may even bust out the Housewives Tarot too, because it is decade appropriate for Marilyn Monroe. So what energetic imprint did Marilyn Monroe leave behind in this world? So we do know that she is really the archetype of beauty. Everyone knows how gorgeous she is, was, and continues to be into the future. Did she think she was going to have this impact? Who knows? But what energetic impact did she leave behind in this world? Why are we seeing so much attention on her? Why has she not disappeared into the pages of history? Let's look at the long-term cultural influence and spiritual presence. We have the first card, which is our Six of Wands in reverse with the Seven of Cups in the upright. So what is this energy all about? This particular energy is about the underdog and not winning. The energetic imprint is really the ravished beauty, the ravished glory. This is what we are looking at with her. It is a life cut short. The energetic imprint, we did not get enough. So if all of us are the junkies, we did not get enough of that juice from her. We really wanted to see her back here. We didn't want to see her leave. My own Aunt Marilyn is named after Marilyn Monroe, in fact. So let's see what was under the surface there. Under the surface, she was not of this world, guys. This is impermanence, that 10 of Pentacles. She was too much to stay in the physical and terrestrial. Over here, locked into a certain set of circumstances. So that Eight of Swords, I do think that energetically, that this is a condition that is almost the message of beauty as a prison. that gorgeousness is really a prison from which some women cannot escape. They cannot get out of that. What do we have up top? Ace of Swords. She did set a new pace for some of the other beauties that came after her. So there is a school of thought that Jane Mansfield was the poor man's Marilyn Monroe. Jane Mansfield was also a very, very bright, intellectual individual. Marilyn Monroe, very intellectual. The image of Marilyn that she put out was much more innocent and kooky. And Jane Mansfield kind of did the same thing. Jane Mansfield was built in the same way, blonde, gorgeous, bold, right up on the screen. And Jane Mansfield also had a tragic ending. She may wind up in the mixed bag that we do on Saturday. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to be doing divas all week. But here, Marilyn Monroe changed the pace for gals. We're going to pull some clarifier cards on that. So what was the intention? The intention was that she did not need to partner with other people. Now, we're going to talk a little bit more as we go into this reading about the studio that she had set up. She really was the first woman to kind of create her own job market in terms of studio. What else did she set? The pace. Unfortunately, this is a message of you do have to sacrifice your relationship, happiness, and children for success. All of your energy has to go into it. Given the time period, 50s and 60s, given the time period, I do think that there is some truth to that. We always have to look at history with the scope of the time period and what we know now. And I do think that the message that she was leaving was, you can't have it all. Either you have to be this heavy duty career girl, or you can be a partner. One more clarifier card is that heartbreak will abound. Heartbreak will abound in those situations. You know, it really is. You can be an icon. You can be a vision of beauty, an archetype of beauty, but you can't have it all. So let's do our little scale here. We're going to look at the future. Oh, the future was always going to be tragic for her. Future would always be tragic. She was on a path of tragedy. And here, that Eight of Swords, the destruction of beauty, unfortunately, was her fate in this lifetime. Unfortunately. Hate to say it, guys. So how did she see herself? Saw herself as not as powerful as we see her today. How did others see her? Others saw her as a very sad circumstance with that Six of Cups in reverse. What were the hopes and fears on this? The hope was autonomy, of being able to exist and thrive without the assistance of others. I think that's a good one. And we have another outcome card here. Broken heart, seeking love in all the wrong places. So unfortunately, that is the imprint that she left behind. But it almost seems as if that was karmically her goal, to be this tragic beauty. So was her light innate, cultivated, or channeled from a higher source? So innate, something she had no investment in. Cultivated, something she did invest in. Channeled from another source, higher source. This is God-given. Innate, Three of Cups in reverse. Cultivated, it is the Five of Cups. Channeled from the higher source. This was a skill that was, this was a set of circumstances that was given to her from a higher source. Innate, I think, unfortunately, what was innate with her was the problem of substances. I think that was something that was in her physical body. Cultivated, I think she did try and try and try to get away from the depression, the mental instability. This was something that she was constantly fighting against, but channeled. I do think that the higher source gave her a poor set of circumstances. She really was a goddess on terra firma. What kind of soul agreement did she make regarding her fame and vulnerability in this life? I'm going to switch it up to the pulp tarot for this question. What kind of soul agreement did she make regarding her fame and vulnerability in this life? Oh, wow. She did agree to the substance part. She agreed to that. And that would be to not fully experience her success, to not fully experience it under the surface. King of Wands, to not really be in control. And that, again, when we're talking about the devil, we're talking about substances. This would make her not in control. Queen of Pentacles, the gods themselves, and this almost looks like her dress from the 7-Year Itch, but the gods themselves gave her the raw materials. It really was the raw materials that were pushing her toward that success, toward that ultimate end. 4 of Pentacles, they would make her secure as a celebrity. What does that mean? That means that she would not be able to walk on the street without people noticing her, without people worshiping her, without paparazzi. There is paparazzi back then. Without paparazzi following her, without the obsessive love of some of her lovers. And that 8 of Swords, the soul agreement was she was always going to leave and substances were going to have something to do with it. Now, I said, I am not going to dive into who did it. I have my own opinion about that, who was responsible for her exit. But I think that this is very curious that it was a lack of control in her life. This is really saying lack of control. What was that, Greg? Era. I'm not going to say anything about that.
I'm not going to say who it was. That possibly could have been Iraq.
Era possibly could have been in LA at the same time with his stupid haircut. What? What did I say? So, backing on, I think we can talk about that now, right?
Well, they're all in the ethereal now.
They're all in the ethereal. I think maybe later this week, I will do a pop-up video for you guys. So, how did her spiritual wounds affect her journey? How did the spiritual wounds affect her journey? The Sun in reverse, the 3 of Wands coming together, 9 of Wands, 10 of Wands, 9 of Cups. So this is a very odd series of cards because it's almost that the vulnerability that she allowed to come in is what enabled other personalities and elements to come in and take her off the earth plane. Yes, I did say it, guys. I don't think she did it herself. So I think that the emotional scars, the spiritual scars and wounds that she had were the exit plan. So she had to have this fragility, this vulnerability in order to achieve the goal of her soul contract. This 9 of Cups in that case does not mean this is a great card, but it means mission accomplished. Very interesting. Very interesting. So where do we go from here? What part of her essence continues to magnetize people decades later? What part of her? Is it her spiritual part? Is it the terrestrial part? What is it? What is it that draws us to her? Spiritual, ethereal, and this is the terrestrial. Spiritual. So the spiritual part that draws us to her is, again, that stolen beauty, that damsel that is robbed from us, taken away, and leaves us only with the academics that we know about her, her films, her pictures, the things that she wrote, except for that red diary, right, Greg? So these are the things that her spiritual self is making us crave more. This really is, even though she was a person who had issues with substances, she becomes the substance for us spiritually. Now, terrestrial, let's see the essence here. 6 of Cups. Oh, if only this 6 of Cups and the 9 of Wands, if we could only unlock what would have happened, what she could have been, what could have been from her, what new thing was she going to do? She was very serious about her craft. She did go to the actor's studio. She was very, very serious about being a good actress. She was with obviously Arthur Miller, very curious and interested in literature and top-notch playwriting. Let's put it that way. So that is quite curious. Tell me in the comments, guys, do you think that it's the spiritual side that pulls us closer, or the terrestrial side, this what would be, or this spiritual, energetic substance that she was? What do you think it was the most interesting and most desirable thing about her? So she did struggle quite a bit with childhood abandonment and her mental health and identity. This gave her a lot of depth as an actress, referencing the actor's studio. It was from that trauma that she did pull some of her best roles. So how did Marilyn view herself in contrast to how the world saw her? How did she actually see herself? How did she see herself? Do a little mirror reading. 4 of Swords, Knight of Wands, 3 of Pentacles, Page of Wands, 4 of Cups, 5 of Cups, and the Fool. So this is a little round the world reading for you. So how did she see herself? Here in the middle, she was ready to act. I don't mean act on the stage or anything like that. She was ready to jump in and do. There was a sense of doing for her. And this, I am getting psychically, is the reason why she would use substances, because there was such this drive to do and create and make new things, such a drive for that she would actually have to medicate herself out of it. Here, there was a lot of resistance to the doing that we have from here. A lot of resistance. She was not able to actualize the things that she actually wanted to do. And we have that here with the Page of Wands. A lot of times her ideas were squashed. Here, a lot of her actions were squashed. And she needed to pull in other individuals with this 3 of Pentacles to help her make things happen. when she started her studio, what year did she start her studio? She started her Marilyn Monroe Productions in 1954. And that was started with another individual. I'm sorry, I don't have it in my notes. I can't remember who it was, but it was another man. She actually did partner up with someone. And that is because she needed to be legitimized by the backing of a man. So again, it's the times, 1954. This isn't me saying that, it needed to be that way. Under here, how she also saw herself constantly looking for love, constantly disappointed by love, but also ready to go, ready to jump back in if someone seemed appropriate. So this is how she saw herself professionally, being shut down at every turn, needed to partner up with a man, needed to partner up with people. And then down here in her relationships, she always saw getting sand in her face every time she got into a relationship, but was always ready to start anew, to give it a shot with another dude. What was her deepest personal desire? Was it fame? Was it love? Was it respect? Was it children? What did she want most of all? What did she want most of all? Page of Cups. There we go. So, what did she want most of all, kids? She wanted to be strong enough to get in the face of the power structure of Hollywood. Famously, she said when she started her studio, "I'll never have to suck a blank again." I said blank. She famously said that, and that was something that she wanted to throw that right into the face of the Hollywood machine. Keep in mind, at the time, Hollywood was run by men. The casting couch was a real thing, and we would see starlet after starlet that were taken advantage of. Harvey Weinstein was a common occurrence in this time period. Over here, this was something that she desired. The Page of Cups. This is a baby. She wanted to be the mogul in Hollywood, but she also wanted that baby. So let's ask if this rebellion against the power structure of Hollywood, if that was what motivated her to start her own studio, to fly in the face of the gods. Ace of Pentacles, we're starting out strong. Two of Swords, she wanted to create a different pathway for starlets. It's almost as if she wanted to mentor and create a studio, a very feminist kind of view here, guys. Create a studio for women by women. Or by woman, capital letters for her. But this was coming away from the patriarchy in Hollywood, coming away from it and rebelling, absolutely rebelling, tearing down the structures here. Lessons learned from her experiences in the movie mogul world and on the casting couch. And here she would start to create directors, artists, writers that would all work together. This was a brave new world that she was creating, and it was all born of the rebellion against the patriarchy in Hollywood. Good for you, girl. Good for you. I'm not the biggest feminist, but I do like that. So, what were the karmic consequences for her rebellion against the established studio system? What was her karmic payback on that? Did she have any? It's the karmic payback for her rebellion against the studios. Judgment in reverse. Three of Swords. No. This actually was quite healing. It did make her unappealing to some of the more masculine men in her world. because it just was too much transition from the concept Marilyn Monroe to the actual real Marilyn Monroe. So, no one wanted to see a smart Marilyn Monroe back in the day. They didn't want to have an actual conversation with her, except for Joe DiMaggio. He really loved her. I think he had some different expectations. I think he, too, fell for the glamour of Marilyn Monroe, the ditzy blonde who is super beautiful and super sexy. I think he was surprised and somewhat knocked off his feet by the smarter version of Marilyn Monroe. He wanted her to cook and clean and be a happy little housewife, and that was not going to happen. But this karmic revolutionary kind of Marilyn Monroe, I think that the punishment was that she was very difficult to understand by the men in her world. And that's professional and personal. I think it was very, very difficult for them to understand her. So where do we go from here, kids? Where do we go from here? Did Marilyns spirit choose the early death to magnify her legacy? Was that part of the deal? Now, we already saw that it looks like she gave up control so that someone could be the agent of that exit. But was the early death to magnify that legacy? Four of Swords. She's still working, kids. That girl is still working, and she's still fighting the patriarchy in Hollywood. She is still at work. She is still in rebellion. So I don't know if it Rachel Ziegler is one of her. Really? Did you say that? Did you become a Jewish mother over there?
Yeah, I think what fits Marilyn Monroe's personality and wit would be more like Anna Kendrick.
Anna Kendrick?
Yeah, I think she's more like.
I think Britney Spears had a good chance of stepping into that role. But Anna Kendrick, that's an interesting one. She was a really good comedic actress.
Right, because she's smart. I think that's what Marilyn Monroe wanted to be.
Yes.
So
I think I'm watching Marilyn Monroe movies all night, by the way. So did she choose an early death to magnify her legacy? I don't think she chose the early death to magnify it. I think the war continues. I think the revolution goes on. I think there are still battles to be won, but not in the Rachel Ziegler kind of way. I'm just going to say that. I think it is more of a soft play, like Greg is saying with Anna Kendrick. I think it's more of a subtle play. It's not standing up and going, "Oh, it's decidedly so," about the prince in Snow White. We all know that story. We all saw that interview. Raven is barking again. Raven agrees. Oh my God. So
Marilyn Monroe is here.
Marilyn Monroe visiting. I did get that book. For Mother's Day, my daughter got me a vintage detail. It's a booklet about the death of Marilyn Monroe. It's from 1964. It's pretty cool. How does Marilyn's energy respond to the way she's idolized today? How does she feel about the way that she is idolized today?
She wanted girls to copy her, not gay men.
Are you serious, Greg?
I don't think she minds, but I'm just saying, that wasn't the primary.
Okay. So how does she respond? With great enthusiasm, with unbridled enthusiasm. We have the Sun card with the Temperance card in reverse. It is with great joy that she sees through our eyes how she has been iconized, because she really is an icon. The disappointment and sadness of her existence, the lack of love that she felt, is no longer an issue. And here she does like that people do lean into her energy and to what she is in a nostalgic, historical, but still immortal way. Immortal. So how does she see herself in this retrospect? The Three of Swords. It has repaired the wounds. How does she see us that are following her? The Ten of Swords. At times, she is like, don't be me. Be you, with that stardust that she was made out of. Hopes and fears. We've got the hope here, the fear here. The hope is that future generations will take her energy and the things that she has done and will craft new ways of rebellion against that patriarchy. I know, against the power structures. It doesn't have to be the patriarchy. It doesn't have to be men, but it is the power structures in Hollywood, not allowing oneself to be bridled or contracted into submission. And here, this fear, don't sell out for the money. Don't do it. This is a yacht girl kind of card here. Don't do it, girl. Do not take the money and give up your freedom, because that is what that Nine of Pentacles is about. That's the kept woman. And she gives up freedom in exchange for money. What is our final word from Miss Marilyn Monroe? What is our final word from her? And we have the Page of Pentacles. You too can craft an amazing and curious future for yourself. Be bold. Go into your future with excitement, with courage, with understanding that the women before did so, and you can step on their accomplishments and climb even higher. She lends herself to us as an inspiration and as the first rung, or maybe the first ladder on the climb to women being amazing, creative business individuals. This is a wild message from her, guys. Wild, wild stuff. It really is. It is such a great reading. I didn't think it was going to be this good. So, what is her message for modern women that are navigating public identity, beauty, authenticity? What is her message? What is her message? 1, 2, 3. Oh, this is cool. Page of Wands becomes the Knight of Wands. When we look at the tarot court, the page becomes the knight, becomes the queen, becomes the king. They move through these power structures. And this is the desired way to go. Never, ever, ever forget that creative power is also real power, like the emperor. We're going to turn him around because she wants us to maintain this and still be creative. Wild stuff, guys. I'm loving this reading. I'm loving this for her. So how can we call in Marilyn's energy, her light, her softness, self-reinvention? You know, we saw Madonna do that a bazillion times. We see Lady Gaga do it now. We see Britney do it a bit. How do we call her in for our own healing or our own spark of magic? How do we do that? What should we do? What should we do to connect with this particular diva? King of Cups. Use your heartbreak to uncover things about yourself. When your heart breaks, when you have a loss, when you don't get that job, when you lose the guy, when you crash your car, when your cats run away off the porch and then come back, use that to fuel your intuition, your instincts. Make it fuel. Transmute that power, guys. King of Pentacles. When you don't have money, look at different ways of starting things up. Look at all sides of the equation. Turn the cube around and see what you can do. What else? 9 of Cups, 9 of Cups. Sometimes wishes are made in the quantum. Sometimes wishes. Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about the quantum all the time. Highly recommend his videos. I have no affiliation with him, but I think he's freaking amazing. The wishes that she made were not made here of logic. They were made of stardust. The success that she achieved was made out of sheer will. And you too can do that. Be less logical. Be less logical. It's a rare occasion that I tell people to do that in their practical life, but so be it for this reading. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this. I am so excited to be doing Divas Week. I think this is going to be fun. I definitely think I need to talk about, I need to do a mini video about her exit because I do think there was someone involved. If you're a member, there is a video in my members only video. It is Marilyn's Red Diary. So you might want to take a look at that. There's some interesting input there. But thank you so much for watching this. Let me know what you think of Marilyn Monroe. Why do you think she is this beloved immortal that we can't get away from? Let me know in the comments. I hope to see you guys in the next reading. Don't forget, tomorrow's going to be 2 for Tuesday, and we're going to be talking about Bette Davis and Joan Crawford. I love Joan Crawford. I love her. I have a Joan Crawford hanger. I will bring it for the reading so you guys can see. It's a Mommy Dearest wire hanger. And the Mommy Dearest book was a hit piece. I'm saying it right now, so you're getting a little preview on that. But I will see you guys tomorrow. Be your best diva self all week this week. I'll see you soon.